Alright, we have a TWID from Thursday. This TWID is actually pretty dope. There's some cool stuff in it. Bungie has a little cutscene and stuff. You haven't watched it, you should watch it. We're not going to watch it here because it takes too long. Not really, just no spoilers. Make sure you show up at 9 a.m. PT on the 6th of May for the Edge of Fate reveal. They'll have it on Twitch and on YouTube. We'll be streaming live as well. Can't wait to see what's going on with this. If you watch it, you'll get a free emblem, which actually looks pretty dope. So make sure you check out that. Get the free emblem. Heavy Metal's gonna have a tournament, which is kind of cool. You get an emblem if you watch any of these people, which that emblem is really dope. So I would recommend watching someone, because that is kind of cool. Heavy Metal comes out next week, so make sure you check it out. Game mode should hopefully be fun. This does look like a really dope emblem, so will definitely be worth wearing, without a doubt. There's a whole bunch of changes for sandbox and abilities and weapons, so we're not going to go over everything, but we will go over a few things. First off, prismatic supers are going to get a little faster cooldowns because they nerfed them a bit, and yeah, they're really bad. Prismatic supers take forever to get in trials and stuff. It's very hard to get them. Sometimes not, sometimes is. It really depends on the situation, so I'm glad they're kind of making that a little better. Scatter grenades are just getting nerfed again for the 13th time. They're literally useless. I don't know why they're getting nerfed. I haven't seen someone use a scatter grenade in forever because literally the moment one blows up, they blow themselves up. They just all disappear and they only do a tiny bit of damage to you. So it's become the completely joke of a grenade. So I don't know why they're getting nerfed again, Bungie. You've literally made the grenade useless, but whatever. Bungie for you. On the Prowl, Void Aspect getting nerfed, hallelujah. At least in PvP, which is what needs to be nerfed. Warlock, Lightning Surge is getting buffed and nerfed. They're just making it more consistent, basically, and then making it do less damage at the highest range and then more damage at the lowest range, so it's a nerf and a buff, we'll see, whatever. They're finally buffing Withering Blade, Stasis, and Prismatic Melees for the Hunter. Those melees suck. I doubt this buff is going to make anything good. Maybe in PvE it'll be better, but in PvP I doubt it's going to make a difference, so I'm not really excited for that. All throwing knives, didn't even know this, but throwing knives have been bugged. The only ones I knew was bugged were the Phantom knives, but I guess all of them were actually bugged and had horrible aim assist, or tracking cone or whatever, so didn't know that. That's kind of cool, I guess. They're getting buffed. Throwing knives are going to be a lot scary again, a lot scarier, so that's going to be scary. On the Prowl, another thing for on the Prowl, they reduced prey finding cooldown from 0.5 to 0.1 seconds. So that means you can just do it a lot quicker. And ability energy is now granted instantly instead of over time. Honestly, I think the over time thing was actually a good balance, but whatever. They increased the follow-up melee for Lightning Surge as well. So basically, when you Lightning Surge, you can't melee as quick right away after, which is great because they nerfed it for Titans and something for the Hunters. I don't remember what, but they had nerfed it for the Warlock, which made it really still busted AF. So I'm glad they finally did that. Legacy frames, Pulse Rifle's getting nerfed. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I'm not going to read over everything they're doing because, truthfully, it's not going to do anything. And I think they seem to be buffing the airborne effectiveness, and yeah, they're nerfing the scaler, but this is Bungie. They think that's enough. Look how many nerfs it's had, and it's still broken. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to get nerfed at all. Rapid fires are getting buffed. They're increased base damage from 14.5 to 15. They increased the precision damage from 27.6 to 27.8. I am scared shitless of this. Rapid fires are actually good right now. I don't know what they're smoking. The only reason they're not used is because their range is a bit low. But anything inside the range gap, they will obliterate faster than anything in the game, other than maybe an SMG or sidearm. So I don't know what Bungie's smoking. These things are already monsters. Especially if you add any type of damage perk to it, it just obliterates your health. So I'm not excited for that. I am excited that heavy bursts are getting a buff. The heavy burst hand cannons, these things really needed a range buff, and this is kind of helping them a little bit. So I'm glad these are getting buffed. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I hope it is. Judgment is finally, since it's coming out of Friday night, it's finally getting a rework. Hopefully it actually gets barrels instead of, what's it called? Scopes, because that's what it still has for some reason. It's still scopes currently. So hopefully when it comes out in Friday night, it's actually going to have barrels. But they're actually increasing its base stats and increased magazine size from 9 to 11. Hallelujah, because the mag sucks. So I'm glad they're doing that. Reload increased from 40 to 45. Not much of a difference. Handling increased from 42 to 55. Huge difference. That's insane. Hallelujah, it's finally getting buffed. Hopefully Bungie gives us barrels to make this thing even more of a monster. Can't wait. Auto rifles, high impact, are getting buff, but it's not huge, but it might be enough. So we'll see. 20 body shot goes from 23 to 24. Critical hit goes from 41.4 to 43.2, which is a huge increase. Precision auto rifles are getting a buff as well. Um, but they're also getting a nerf in a sense, so their body shot goes up, but their critical hit goes down, but it's not really going down because it's goes from 33.95 to 34, so I really don't understand how that's reducing the precision damage scalar. Bungie, you might want to redo your numbers there. I think it might be 34 now, and it's supposed to be going to 33, but whatever. Submachine guns, adapt submachine guns are getting an ADS damage fall off scalar from 1.4 to 1.5, which should help with a little bit of range, which is nice. I'm glad because these things are kind of meh. They're not bad, but there's a lot of other ones that are just seem to be more dominating, so we'll see. Heavy burst slugs are getting increased damage by 8%. I don't know if this is PvE or PvP or both. Hopefully it's both, but even then, I don't think it'll be much. Unless like in one head, one body, so on. I don't think it's worth much. It really depends on, because that's the problem is you have to hit double headshots and you can easily get flinched off the shot. That's why these suck right now. One quiet moment, which is actually crazy, of a perk. It's just not as good as. It's very situational. It's actually getting reduced where it now has 2 stacks. One that activates after 1 second of being out of combat for 50% of the bonus, and the other at 2 seconds for 2, so 100% of the bonus. So that's really cool. But at the same time, I feel like the problem is it's a full second. If you're playing in PvP, sixes or in threes, you're very rarely out of combat unless it's a situation where you can kill someone like off on their own. So it's a good perk, but it's very situational. It's rarely ever worked for me, so I barely use it. There's only a couple guns I use it for. Alacrity, Critty, I don't know. This perk is cracked, and they're actually making it more broken. Now activates at reduced effectiveness whenever a teammate dies. Reaches maximum effectiveness when 2 or more teammates are currently dead. So basically, this is designed for sixes now. They redesigned so it would work for sixes as well. So if your teammate dies, you get a reduced effectiveness stat of all the bonuses it gives you, which is quite a few. But then if 2 or more die, then you get max stacks, the maximum effectiveness of the ability, which is pretty crazy stats increase. It gives you a huge stat increase, so that's kind of crazy. I'm very excited for that. Because I like weapon updates, Lord of Wolves finally getting nerfed. At the same time, it was so good, but there's so few situations where it's very useful because there are different damage resist for certain bosses, different ways some are scaled. So things as a whole, it's not that crazy. It is very unique, but it wasn't as crazy as some people made it out to be. Yes, the things it was melting were very good at, but there was other things it was not, so I don't know. Risk Runners increased zoom from 13 to 14. I really wish Risk Runner would get jolting feedback as a byproduct, because I think it'd be really cool if you could create the lightning bolts that just chain all the ads, but then it also creates jolting feedback at the same time. So it'd be like a 2-for-1 thing. So they'd be 2 separate abilities, but they'd both be designed to clear ads, so it'd be even better at clearing ads. I just think that'd be really cool. Um, it should keep what it has now, just add jolting feedback. Yes, I know technically it already does jolting feedback in a sense, but I think it would be a lot better. So that way, if you're in a situation where you don't have arcade shooting you, it would work really, really well, I think. Truth and Two-Tailed Fox. Increased the ammo amount picked up in Crucible from 1 to 2. This was really dumb. All heavy ammo in Crucible should only be able to get 1 kill, period. It would balance it out a lot, especially in threes. So I don't know what they're thinking here. This is just dumb. Bad idea. Um, yeah, Zaint, we did. That is true. Um, Altheum, which is, I love this grenade launcher. It's my favorite grenade launcher in the game for primary. Obviously, there's fighting line in it, so there's only 2, but this thing is just so good. It's so useful for certain situations. I might have a different meta now, but I still love this thing with a passion, so I'm actually happy they finally, after literally a full season's worth and almost another full season's, finally fixed the problem with it, and I'm really happy about that. So now if you create a special ammo brick, now only costs 50% energy, so if you're at 100% energy, you don't lose all of it just to create a special brick. Now I only use 50%, and then if you use the heavy, it uses all 100. Hallelujah, we've been wanting this forever. Thank you, Bungie. Took you forever, but we're happy. Finally, the most important thing, Finality's Augur is getting a buff. I can't wait for this thing. JD, thanks for subscribing to 6 months to tier 1. How you doing today, JD? And how this thing, dude, Finality's Augur is a secret meta. A lot of people don't know about it. I've been trying to get it out there, but this thing absolutely obliterates bosses if used correctly. And now this thing is becoming a bigger monster. I can't wait to try this thing out. So we're going to go over this because it's the most important thing. We've added some quality of life changes that should make using this weapon an overall smoother experience. Increase the duration that a target is painted to match the duration of the turret. This is the biggest issue with it. you would sit there and you would mark a target, and about the last 5 seconds of the turret, it would stop aggroing the target you painted, which is the biggest problem with it because that's 5 seconds of more damage, and it's a lot of damage it's missing. So I had a damage rotation, so that way if you did it about a few seconds into it, you could keep it marked for the whole turret. You just had to remark it, but that does lose out damage if you're using other weapons to do like most damage possible, so it was really bad for that situation. But they're fixing that problem, so this makes it just even better. Just alone with that alone makes this way better. That's 5 seconds of extra damage, of insane damage with bait and switch especially, so I'm very happy for that. The environmental target marker now marks additional targets that enter the zone after its initial creation. So this is for ad clearing, which I do use this for ad clearing as well somewhat for certain situations. And this is great as well because it sucked. You'd mark a whole bunch of ads, they'd die, and more ads would walk into it and nothing would happen. I'm hoping that means when you paint the ground as well, it will stay full the full amount of time and it won't go away. I'm hoping that's what this means as well, as it's going to get the painted thing, but instead of painting a target, you're painting the floor, so I'm hoping it'll still work the same way it lasts for the entire thing. We'll see. Now grants an automatic reload from reserves after deploying a turret. This is the most broken thing that could ever be added to this thing. This is like rewind rounds, but better. So now whenever you create a turret, it automatically reloads your gun from reserves, if you have reserves, which you should. So now you have 6 shots. So now you could actually combo it with the linear shot version as well, which both activate with bait and switch, and create something even more broken, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, as a whole, this thing's gonna be insane for damage. They reduced the turret self damage by 85%, which is insane because this thing, if anything walks in front of it, it always breaks itself, and it sucks when that happens because big bosses sometimes move in front of it and then it breaks itself. 85% damage reduction to itself is stupid broken. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that other than that thing won't break basically, which is insane. And then they increased the turn damage by 10%. So this thing's already a monster. And now you gotta add 10%. So if you're doing 100 damage, you're now doing 110% damage per shot. Which means now if it shoots 10 shots, you're doing 1,000 damage with another 100 extra, which is insane. Which obviously does way more than that, but that's the example, which is insane damage increase. 10% doesn't sound like much, but then when you calculate it's every shot, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be every shot, so if you don't know, when you mark a target, it goes from shooting 1 shot at a time to shooting 3 shots at a time. And in theory, each of 3 of those shots are going to get 10%, so technically it's getting a 30% damage increase. Unless Bungie did think about that, then each shot will not be getting its own increase, it'll be total getting 10%. If they did think about that, then that's still really good, but if each shot is actually getting an increase in damage, that is a 30% increase because it does each of those 3 shots do the same amount as 1 shot if you just have the normal 1 shot shooting. So that's pretty nutty, potentially, because that's basically you get like 3 times damage if you mark a target. And now if you add 10% on top of each of those shots, that means you're getting 30% damage increase, potentially. Again, it depends on how they decide to code it. Whether it's 10% or 30% doesn't matter, it's still crazy. I can't wait for that. They got some armor updates, Radiant's getting nerfed and buffed and redesigned again. They're trying to make it balanced because they realize they might have fucked up a bit, which is fine. I don't disagree with most of these, but it's mostly they're trying to nerf it for keyboard and mouse because it's a little too broken with that. So I don't blame him. Lion Rampart is getting the RDM treatment, Radiant Dance Machine treatment, which is crazy because now you can do it while hip firing or aiming down sights, which is fucking mental. That's going to be a pain because it's already a pain when you run into that one Titan that floats in the air infinitely and just rails you with damage from hip fire across the map because it's stupidly accurate. And now it's going to be they can aim down sights and still get the advantage. So I'm already scared of that. Lunafaction boots are also getting it, which is crazy. They're getting an air effect in this. As well as hip fire, so that's just scary as fuck. They are nerfing the insane slug range, though, in PvP. If you use an Empowering Rift, it's losing 50% now instead of the insane range. You could hit like a 40 meters or something with a slug was crazy. Barely anyone did it, but the few that did do it were monsters and are so hard to deal with because they could literally one-tap you ridiculous ranges. So I'm glad they're nerfing that, but 50% ain't enough. I think that's still too much because that means you're still hitting 20 meters with a slug that shouldn't be hitting that. Just saying, that's crazy. 3 new rewards coming with Iron Banner Trials and Nightfall. I'm so excited for this. So the Iron Banner Scout is kind of a scout, it's a lightweight scout. It's not that impressive. It's not bad, but as a whole, not that great. It's called Nature Reclaimed, lightweight scout rifle, solar, killing when outlaw, heal clip, lone wolf, rapid hit, shoot to loot. Heal Clip's a great perk, but it is a scout, so I don't really like them. There's only a couple spots scouts are good for. Overall, they're not that great, and I only really like that one type of scout, the one that's like a Dead Man's Tail. So the rest I don't really like that much, other than Jade Rabbit and Polaris. Those are the only two examples of it. Um, Column 4, Desperate Measures, Kill Clip, Incandescent, Precision Instrument, Box Speed, Explosive Build. Kill Clip will probably be the best for PvP, Incandescent for PvE, Shoot to Loot, or Heal Clip for PvE. That's probably the best option. They're okay. I don't like Scouts that much, so this is... But it's not a bad roll. It's just meh. Trials of Osiris, the Inquisitor. This thing's a monster. Has always been a monster, and now it's going to be even more of a monster. First column, which is column 3. Envious Assassin, which is crazy for PvE. Lone Wolf, crazy for PvP. Offhand Strike has a place. It'd be a bit weird, but it has a place in PvP. Loose Change, meh. Perpetual Motion, not bad. Slide Shot, not bad. Threat Detector, not bad. We've got some insane perks right there for PvP. Column 4, we got Bait and Switch, which is crazy DPS for PvP. Or not PvP, sorry, PvE. I have a great use for that. I'm very excited for that. We got Closing Time for PvP, which is insanely god tier perk still. Their nerf basically did nothing. It did something, but it wasn't enough to make it shit. Still a great perk all around. Got Cascade Point, which has a play in PvE and PvP. It's very weird, but there are people that use this in PvP, and it is very surprisingly good in certain situations. It has its role. Fragile Focus, it's a special meta. Very few people use it, but there are some specifics that use it. But it's meh as a whole, in my opinion. Jolting Feedback's kind of cool. It's nothing crazy, but it could have a situational use, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting role. Opening Shot, obviously, is always a good perk. Closing Time and Opening Shot are both good perks. Precision Instrument's another one you could use with Envious Assassin, create a damage perk combo. Not bad. The Nightfall, we got Cruel Mercy. Arc Heavy Burst Pulse Rifle, which actually is pretty damn crazy because it's the first heavy burst adept that's in the energy slot. I believe there is obviously the Aisha's Care in the primary slot, which is Strand, or in the kinetic slot, which is Strand, but this I believe is the first energy one, which is very, very exciting because this thing is actually pretty cracked. We got Dragonfly for PvE, we got Demolitionist for either PvE or PvP if you want to do a grenade thing. Eddy Current, not a bad perk, but I don't really think this is going to need it. These things reload decently quick. They feel slow sometimes, but you can get stuff that helps them reload, so it's not a big deal. Fourth Time's the Charm is an interesting thing. It might be some sort of damage thing, maybe, potentially. I don't know. Keep Away, insanely cracked for this thing. This thing will map with Keep Away. I love Keep Away on these pulses. It's just cracked. Lone Wolf ain't a bad choice either, just to get that better aim assist and stuff and in-air accuracy. And then column 4, we have Jolting Feedback, which is crazy. As Jolting Feedback, Adrenaline Junkie, Head Seeker Frenzy, Kill Clip Desperado. Pretty crazy. Jolting Feedback PvE. Adrenaline Junkie technically has a role, but I don't really care for that perk. Head Seeker and Kill Clip, both for PvP, is insane. Desperado could be good in PvP or PvE, potentially. It has a place. Definitely has a place, which is pretty crazy. Something else they're actually going to do, which we'll read about real quick, is Nature Reclaimed will be first available starting May 20th when Iron Banner returns. You can get it at the end of match reward, and from engrams you open once you have earned it for the first time. You can focus that Saladin in the tower, like every other Iron Banner weapon, which is kind of cool. But it's not that great, so meh. For the Inquisitor and Cruel Mercy, we are trying something a bit different for the duration of Rite of the Nine, and until the Edge of Fate launches. Well, both will be available at their respective vendors. They will also drop as additional rewards when you finish a Trials match or a Nightfall activity. That also includes their Adept counterparts. Trials of Osiris will be back on May 13th for the first time after update 8.2.6 is live. So winning on a 4-win streak can get you the featured reward, Aisha's Care Adept, which is cool, but also an extra, the Inquisitor Adept to go with it. So that's cool. You get Aisha's Care, and then you also get an Inquisitor Adept, which is quite cool. Same thing in the Grandmaster Nightfalls. For every Lotus Eater Adept you get on the week of May 6th, you will get a Cruel Mercy Adept. That is a really cool concept. I'm really glad Bungie's doing something like that. That is quite useful, interesting, and unique, and it might actually be a good system for the future. 2 weapons a week would be pretty cool if you're guaranteed them. It would definitely allow for more farming, more creativity, so I kind of like that ideal. I'm not sure exactly how the Trials one's going to work. Once you go you go Flawless, or you get the 3 wins at least, and you get the guaranteed roll, or the guaranteed weapon. I don't know if you can just go farm it like normal and then get both from the drop potentially, or it's one or the other, or they'll both drop at the same time every time you get one. I'm not really sure how that works exactly, so we'll see, but it's kind of cool. A cool little emblem you can get if you donate some money, so donate $10 to the ICHS through the Bungie Foundation. You get this cool emblem little flower, which is kind of cool. I like it. Known issues are always the same. Something really cool and weird. This picture is actually pretty dope. It looks like a worm, but it looks like that critter from that one movie. I can't remember what it's called, but then they added a ribbon face to it, which is kind of cool. Uh, Armcara face, which is kind of dope. I actually like this. It's kind of creepy but cool at the same time. So imagine having to pet one of these in your house. Pretty crazy, right? We hope the teaser unlocked with the astounding move got you even more excited for the Edge of Fate reveal happening on May 6th. That's less than 5 days away. Making puzzles of this magnitude is a unique challenge with many moving pieces, pun intended, as a lot of planification. Saying that we love to watch you work together to solve it is an understatement. No matter what we put in front of you, this community always finds a way to blow our minds. Thank you all for the passion and effort you put into our games. It's a privilege. So yeah, that's the TWID for the week. Pretty cool stuff. Got some cool changes, unique stuff. Can't believe Finality's getting buffed. This thing's already a monster. Nobody uses it, but it's a flippin' monster, so I can't wait to have it even buffed even more. Very excited. Anyways, thanks for watching. Adios. That's the video. We out.